What's up, guys? This is the first episode of season 2. We've got James Gregory on. We went really deep in this one, and James provided a ton of value and advice. You'll definitely be inspired after watching it, so stay tuned, watch the whole thing, and make sure you've got a pen and paper and take notes. We went to Barcelona, Portugal, Dublin, Belfast, Glasgow, Manchester, but we live in Manchester, so it doesn't really count. But we thought it'd be much better this time by doing them in person and vibing off the other person. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Give us as much advice, feedback, insights. Let me know what you've done off the back of these podcasts, if they did inspire anything. And yeah, let me know who you want on season 3, because we need to start recording that soon, and we just want to keep up in our game. So yeah, thank you for watching and hope you enjoy. So, James, we flew out to Portugal.
Yeah.
We've been here, well, we meant to only be here for a few days, but we've extended the trip twice.
Yeah, we've cancelled several flights.
Yeah, and you've come out even earlier, and you've cancelled. Craig was
Three.
meant to be here for a weekend. He's been here nearly 3 weeks now.
Yeah, it's just, do you know what it is? It's just a really good space.
Yeah.
And then you're surrounded by good people, and there's the sun, good food.
Yeah.
It's just so much work's getting done.
And we've been productive.
Yeah.
Like,
You guys are obviously younger than me and hungry and stuff, and it's very nice to be around that environment, you know.
yeah, it's been
You
good
guys-
energy.
Yeah,
It's been
you
really
guys
good
are
energy.
very much scaling your SEO businesses, you know, so it's great to just absorb the energy and give value where I can, really. So yeah, thank you guys for obviously flying me out and having me on the podcast. You know,
It's
this
been
is
a pleasure.
season 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
You're number 1, you're up
Yeah.
first. What was your favourite part this week?
My favourite part of this week has literally been the wine tours. I love trying out the Portuguese wines, obviously meeting with your clients and going deep on the consulting, obviously, for your SEO for Hire website. We've landed great links for you guys, but you know, it's crazy what you guys are doing in edtech and recruitment, you know, considering you haven't been in the industry that long and you guys are making this type of headway, you know, really blow me away. So I'm just happy to give as much value as I can, really. And yeah, like I said, thank you for flying me out here. It's a nice little trip, you know.
Yeah, man, we're definitely gonna have to do this maybe every 2 months,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah, for sure.
add a few people to the group, and because it's been great, we've got so many ideas.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of
Oh
content.
yeah, a little mastermind out here would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
It would be great, yeah.
Okay, should we get started?
Yes, yeah. So what questions, because I know that you posted a few things in the groups, and there's a few questions from the groups that I kind of had a glance over, but I'm going to be freestyling a lot of this, so hopefully I'll be able to give as much value as I can, really. But yeah.
Yeah, we've got quite a few bits of input from the group.
Yeah.
So number 1, since you're the link building guy,
Yeah.
how you've been in the game quite a while. How do you
Well,
go about?
just as a backstory, I've literally been in the game like nearly 10 years, you know.
Yeah.
So I wasn't always in competitive industries. I was literally starting out because my parents owned childcare nurseries. I just wanted to rank them locally. So I think you're going to ask one of those questions about the competitive link building.
I was going to ask how you get on with competitive link building and CBD, gambling, casino, health.
Yeah, that's obviously
Finance.
the most value I think I could probably give in that sense, because I'm like in the trenches, you know, rather than using external agencies. I was always the guy that wanted to know how to get the best possible link for the cheapest price to just scale out my own properties. And then partnering with guys like Searcheroo and things. We use software like Shodan, Zoomeye, and even Ripe internet databases. So we've got databases of every website on the internet, basically. And you know, just to not bore you guys on the technical aspects, it just means you have a big data dashboard of pretty much every website on the planet that we're just refreshing, because we want to see in certain competitive industries, are people hiding PBN links? How are they ranking them? Because obviously these people are hiding them from SEO tools. So effectively my clients, they don't get an accurate representation of what's actually going on. And just utilizing those type of databases and technologies, it allows us to effectively have access to every possible domain that is registered, is going to be registered, on which IP address, which hosting account, you know, before the development websites. So good for client acquisition and things. But anyway, just from this plethora of data, because you guys are probably wondering, you know, why do I have all this data and what are we using it for? Well, we've got a team of 70 in Manchester, and we're literally just scaling out in-house outreach, using our templates we perfected over years. So these are real English digital PR and outreach staff that I've hand-trained myself in Manchester. And we're just using them to get guest post placements, niche edits and more. For you guys that need all that stuff, I'm sure I'll put like my Beacons link in the bio or something. You guys can in the comments or whatever. You guys can access those. But yeah, that's pretty much how I'm skated out the more competitive stuff. So if you guys want to check out Showdown or Zoomeye and have a little play with those, very cool tools. But yeah.
And so James, how do you acquire clients in 22, and what advice would you give to SEOs and agency owners to do the same?
Ooh, client acquisition. So obviously this is, when starting out, this is obviously one of the most difficult things, because everybody knows when you want to quit your SEO job. For you guys that are working in-house as a technical SEO, you know, to get to your first 2K a month, 3K a month, you only need a couple of clients.
Right.
So the best, you know, advice that I could give, you know, what I'm doing, you know, posting about your journey in industry groups. So obviously the proper SEO group, SEO Signals Lab, the LinkedIn groups, even local business groups. You can start attending B&I meetings. Rather than going there to pitch your services, just network with people. Just literally build genuine relationships with people, you know. That's literally all you need to do, you know, and you'll get traction just from that. But there is other stuff actually beyond just doing that, you know, beyond just posting in groups all day. We've actually done a national lead gen play with one of my business partners, James Dooley, where we have a website where we're currently ranking over 300 industries. So this is Google UK, right? So over 300 industries, and obviously I was showing you guys all you know, we're pretty much number one for our main services across every city in the UK, and we're getting so many leads every day. But when you rank for every industry for what they're trying to rank for, but then are actively writing reviews about those businesses and outranking them for their own brand terms, you effectively control the narrative, and you're the voice of every business, you know. It's so much easier to approach someone and be like, hey, I literally rank above you. It's cost me next to nothing on links to rank above you guys. Why the hell are you guys not outranking me? You know, you guys have been going for years, and I can literally throw up a page and I'm number one.
Yeah.
Surely it'd be an appropriate business decision to send me funds for you guys to get the same results. So it's such an easy foot in the door. You know, every day I have on Aircall Power Dialer maybe 500 people, fresh people every day to dial. So I can literally just pick up my phone and say, look, I rank above you, do X, Y, Z with us, and you can do the same. And, you know, to the point where I'd literally just give them free advice, you know, and I'm building genuine business connections. So if you can actively be seen in the SERPs and already rank, and you have a proof of concept, it's so much easier. You can just get your phone out and just go, you know what I mean, we already rank, would you like to engage? And then obviously the guys that don't want to become us, don't want to work with us, even better, because, you know, we'll go out there and acquire licenses, you know, to start insolvency practices and all sorts, and we'll just fulfill all the work ourselves. It's as simple as that. We literally control the supply chain of effectively 300 different industries and just do it all ourselves. So yeah, hopefully there's some gems there. I know that's a bit a bit intense, but yeah, hopefully there's a lot of value just in posting about your journey and what you're doing, and just being genuine, you know.
Well, I think it just sounds like an insane amount of work as well. Like, so to have the willpower to phone 500 people every day, and like, I know you, like, I know you wake up, like, I wake up, James has cleaned the flat already. I'm like, what's going on? I could be sitting down and he's brought me food. I'm like, yo, you're meant to be the guest. But he just operates at 100 miles an hour all day and doesn't stop. So phoning that many people, like, you do that, and then you're always sending voice notes to clients, and you're always got a mad idea. So that sort of work ethic is something that I think people watching this can definitely get from you. Because that's why I've enjoyed staying with you the past week, because I already thought I had a really good work ethic, but you've just hyped me up to the next level. Going back to the client thing, go back to the groups, that's where I started my content, pal. Like, I was in the Affiliate Lab. All of our other clients came from the Affiliate Lab. So yeah, Affiliate Lab, because I do see you in the Affiliate Lab mastermind group, as well as obviously the open group as well. Sharing a lot of stuff in there. So you guys obviously were primarily a content business, but there's affiliates in there that have content requirements, so then you're able to obviously publish your own sites and things. I would just get them offline, talk to them, I would literally talk to them, figure out what they're doing, wouldn't sell them anything, eventually realise I have a content business, and then they would all come to me. So it's all about brand value, isn't it? And I mean, you started the proper SEO group back in the day. It was you and Charles Float. No? Yeah, it was like 2014 or something. And I literally was still working at an agency, so I worked at an agency called Headread, which is pretty much the biggest agency in Coventry and Warwickshire, and I was doing
PPC campaigns with the Screw Fixes and the Halfords and all sorts of massive clients. But then within 7 months of obviously being in the Facebook group, I was just overloaded with business, you know, freelance work. It was to the point where I was making far more money just from posting in the group and the work coming in that I physically had to start outsourcing my day-to-day SEO work at the agency because I wanted to just work on my own projects. So obviously I outsourced my own wage to effectively make more money. So I was effectively losing money by working for them every day. But I was speaking. The thing is, people say, "Oh, don't work for an agency because you know you won't get the experience or whatever." But for me, you won't get the genuine experience of working on your own websites. But for me, having that genuine experience with clients, the client communication beyond just ranking websites, how they talk, you know, the body language, the vocal tonality, all the sales stuff that I picked up from working with huge companies, I was able to just carry that forward to obviously in the groups and stuff and provide value and advice to people, you know. So yeah, that's it really.
And see the proper SEO group, that's got what, 44,000 members now?
Yeah,
so how did you build that?
42,000. It was literally just posting videos. And then we had powerhouses like Matt Diggity join, who just completely exploded everything. And then Ahrefs joined. And then obviously the Chiang Mai SEO event, which we all go to every single year. Hopefully I'll see you guys there if it's on, you know, COVID pending. But yeah, it just exploded like that really. And now every SEO industry, you know, website like Ahrefs, Semrush, they're producing blog posts saying, look, the number one SEO groups are groups like SEO Signals Lab, the Proper SEO group. You know what I mean? So we're literally like one of the biggest industry groups on that platform, you know.
And how did you meet Charles?
So I'd met Charles really from Googling how to rank my website in Google Maps as quick as possible. And Charles at that point, the god of SEO blog, was absolutely dominating. You know, he was using GSA, all kinds of spam tools. And because I'm a very technical guy, you know, I was tinkering computers from like 11 years old and stuff. It was nice to see someone that I was maybe 16 at the time, and he was like, what, 14? And he was already doing like 8-10 grand a month, you know, and I was just completely blown away. Like, to be honest, I had little mini businesses selling things on eBay and whatnot, but it was never like that kind of money, you know. So I straight away was like reading that stuff, dissecting that stuff. But then he published one blog post where he actually said he was from Solihull, and I was just really confused because that's like 10 minutes away from me. So I just did literally a blog comment on one of his posts, and the next day we were literally having a coffee, and then we've pretty much been like best friends ever since then, you know.
Fair.
It was like, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Very good.
And do you still find yourself finding, well, how often do you network now in the industry? Like with that intention, or you just now go to these events, enjoy it, you've got your group?
Well, so it's weird because I don't even need to actively be in these circles anymore, purely for the fact that I've taken these guys off, you know, the biggest and baddest guys, I've taken them off Facebook into private Telegram groups, WhatsApp groups, you know. We've got the James Dooleys, the Carl Hudsons, the Gary Wilsons, obviously Charles, the heavyweights like Diggity and Craig Campbell, having direct access to them.
Yeah.
Whenever I need something, obviously I'm always in a higher state of value exchange. I'm always trying to give them as much as I can. And I don't like to spend all day just talking to people, but very much we can have very high IQ conversations where we're showing very specific techniques in certain industries that we have full trust with each other to share. And yeah, and that basically just allows me as well to obviously keep my knowledge up to date, you know, keep all my SEO knowledge sharp and up to date, really. And
how do you keep, is there anything else that you do to keep your knowledge up to date?
Just literally reading, dissecting, looking at the SERPs, and obviously when we're literally looking at 260 million index pages across every possible industry and vertical, I have full confidence that me and my team have data that's in the SERPs, because people say, look, read SEO blogs, read SEO content, but it gets to a certain point where there's only so much reading you can do when you actually need to be looking at Google. Google is the tech search engine you're trying to rank in. Why are you not dissecting the SERPs? Why are you not exporting the SERPs every day? Why are you not using SERPWoo to view trends on graphs and track brand new
sites coming out?
Brand new sites coming into your SERPs and industries. So for us, it's so important, you know, so to keep up to date by just looking at the SERPs.
Someone that's quite new to the industry, though, that's a lot of work. That's probably overkill. Someone watching us just now who's maybe a lot smaller than you.
I've got a very specific message for that guy, which would be simply search emergency boiler repair, your city, emergency plumber, your city. And rather than looking at all these scary competitive industries and all these pages that I'm describing and what I described earlier with the healths and CBDs and gambling and the debt management and the 300 other things that we're in, just Google really small services locally and just look at what genuine guys, genuine local people are doing, and simply replicate that,
That's what Self-Insights does, the tool we're trying to build. It literally will tell you who's came in, who's came out, what's changed between the reports. Is the site go faster? We've got more on demand.
Are you looking at the Who's dates on that as well?
It's got loads of stuff in
Oh,
it.
wow.
Back actually.
Yeah. I'd very much like to have another sneak peek after this if you'd let me.
By the time this is over, there'll probably be a demo video out. But
wow. Also, I'll be looking.
Posted.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go back to these private groups we got. So one thing that I got a lot of value from was meeting people like James, Craig Campbell. Like the very first time I met Craig Campbell was at his SEO event, and then I don't know, I think I just messaged him and then spoke to him for a couple of weeks, and then he went, hey, come on my yacht. He took me on his yacht with Gary Wilson.
His yacht? Oh my gosh.
And it was like, okay, shit. He picked me up in his Range Rover, drove me to Loch Lomond, and then we had this like 4-hour conversation on the boat, and it's probably one of the most valuable like meetings I've ever had in my life, because it wasn't like, oh Craig, you're amazing. It was like, Craig, this is terrible. Don't know who gave you that advice. This is really, really bad. You need to go and do this. And it was like a big wake up call. It was
you
like
said it was like Dragon's Den, didn't you?
Yeah, it was like a Dragon's Den pitch. There was no holding back. But I also think like that's a Glasgow thing too. That there's no like. There's no
walls. It's just straight to it.
Oh yeah, it's completely blunt. It's just like completely blunt.
Yeah, see, that's what I love about all the SEOs. They're just straight to the point.
Yeah.
We're all here to do the same thing. We all have very similar personalities. We're all very driven, but we're all just honest and open, and we do things with integrity. Yeah. And that's what I really like about being in this industry. And that's exactly the same experiences that I had with Craig. He even showed me some sites that he's in that were just absolutely mind blowing. Some of the e-commerce industries that he's in, it's insane.
He's good at what he does.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of value out of just I get more value out of the direct relationships now. That I've built from just going to these events or just kind of reaching out and asking and engaging with people like you, Craig, James Dooley. I've had him on a call a few times. And provides a lot of value. And James is like mega rich dude. Like he's got a lot of businesses so for him to spend an hour with me, it's valuable, isn't it? Anyway, we do have a lot of questions from the group, so I've got the laptop here, let me see.
I feel like I'm going to be on the spot here with some of these questions. I did have a little look at some of the posts.
Okay, so James.
Yeah.
How did you build your global SEO network for the viewers who are struggling to branch out in online groups?
Great question. This obviously ties back to what I was saying before about resonating your message and whatnot. But for me, all I did is I literally talked about what I was doing and just asked for help in an authentic way.
Right.
And I was very much open to new ideas. And as I was curating this knowledge and filling in the gaps of my understanding, I was then able to help others. And that's when I was obviously able to branch out the online groups, because through helping others, then there was joint ventures and whatnot. But I think when you're just being yourself and you just don't hold anything back and you're just being honest, people kind of generally like that. But for me, from the online groups, literally from the proper SEO group, like no matter what country on the globe I'm in, I'll always have a dozen or so guys that are out there. I can meet them up for a mastermind session, a night out. And I've literally met countless guys in Thailand, Italy, Sweden, etc., Europe, pretty much everywhere in Asia. And it's literally always a good time with just like-minded people, all on the same journey. And there's just no ego. We just have a great time. And then at the end of the day, we just go over our sites and just give each other a bit of value. It's great to be able to just do that. And obviously, a literally direct example of this is you guys literally flew me out from meeting you guys at, was it SEO
Underground in
SEO
October.
Underground, because I did that talk there for Searcheroo, and I literally met you guys, and
spoken ever since?
Yeah, we've spoken ever since, and you guys have flew me out. I'm now consultant for SEO for Hire. You guys are taking EdTech and recruitment global. Obviously,
keeping that a wee bit hush until we make a few more moves. But I think by March, SEO for Hire will really, because we've got quite a few hires now placed, but we're about to take it to the next level.
Yeah, well,
some of the stuff we've spoke about this week is
Yeah.
just like
Crazy.
Yeah.
so.
Well,
Exciting.
you guys hired me and I delivered, so I'm glad to have provided value now.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, I feel like as well when you go to these groups and stuff, like you get so much more like you actually see what people are doing. But if you get them down right
Yeah.
beside you, you see what they're really up to. What they're posting online, like, isn't even close to what's really happening.
Oh yeah,
So,
no.
it's much better to do that. What's your advice to someone who's trying to get into these mastermind groups? Because if you just come and ask you, they say no. Like, you kind of need to get.
Yeah, like I have a lot of random dudes that they'll just message me on Facebook and stuff, and I'm just sometimes it's a little bit like I know that there's a want and a need, you know. There's a want and a need, and for me, it's more what value can you give them beyond what they can do for themselves, you know. Always be in a state of higher value exchange with the person you're conversing with, and I find that once you do that, you know, people generally reciprocate with time, you know. Do things without expecting it, you know, just give unconditionally without expecting anything in return. Reach out to these people, see what you can do, and hopefully, you know, you can come on these groups and stuff. But yeah, share your story, you know, share your story in the groups first.
It's really funny seeing the sort of messages Craig Campbell gets, so people just like almost like Craig owes them something, and they'll just send them like these random messages, like almost like a demand. And that's obviously the way to not do it.
Yeah, don't do that, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay, so James, you've been in SEO for what, nearly 10 years now?
Yeah, nearly 10
What's
years.
the one thing that you wish you knew when you started that you know now?
Well, I guess I kind of learned SEO through the whole Moz Beginner's Guide to SEO and stuff, and I learned SEO and it was great and all, but then once I started getting traction with networking, joint ventures, I was like, well, what about all the other skills, you know? So don't get too wrapped up in, you know, writing content, building links, outsource that stuff to trusted providers, you know, and then spend more time. You know, for me, I wish I knew more about raising money, raising capital, you know, grants, business loans and things. Like, for example, we've just raised for one of my clients in the CBD industry in the UK, and we've effectively, you know, several £1 million to bring a European-based THC product to the UK market. We literally have Oxford professors on board. We're literally revolutionising the industry.
That sounds exciting.
And if I would have knew about this before, that you can literally just raise capital, I would have done this for all my clients, you know, because I've since then took a step back and realised, oh, my local construction client, it would take me like, 5-10 years to make like £250,000 off them, for example, in retainers, which, you know, I do have local clients. I treat them all like my huge clients or whatever. But for me, knowing that I've been able to raise pretty much £1 million to become a construction school locally, and it's not really the money, it's more the fact that we're provided 150 jobs in the construction industry for this nationwide client, but the client is now comfortable with giving me £250,000 for content, links, websites, Google pay-per-click advertising, Facebook remarketing advertising. It's so much easier to convince someone to use money from funds that have been allocated to have a real business impact, a real social and a real, you know, social economic impact locally, you know, in literally the city Birmingham, which I grew up in. It's great to provide opportunities for 150 people that potentially they might have been forgotten, you know, and they can now rise through the ranks, you know. So I really wish I knew about acquiring capital, because obviously now when I'm able to get very large invoices, I can effectively scale out my affiliate websites, lead gen websites, and acquire clients and just build out like industry content at scale. Like, I'm really glad that you guys have invited me to be on this podcast and stuff, because now, you know, I might start putting out a lot more SEO content, and, you know, depending how this goes or whatever, feedback wise, people want to go deeper, you know, if you guys want to bring me on again, I'd be more than happy to you know, provide as much value as I can. So yeah,
Sure, we could talk for hours.
I just definitely wish I knew about obviously business loans, raising capital. You know, it would have saved me a lot of time and hassle, and I would literally be where I could have probably got to where I am now in maybe 3 years max.
So what's your advice for someone who's small boutique agency, maybe 3 or 4 staff? What should their next move be? Because I see a lot of agencies who try build their own link building team, build their own content team. Now, it's taken me nearly 2 years to build my content pal. Focused on it.
For me, my approach wouldn't be don't even focus on the SEO link building team. Focus more on how are you effectively, how is that small boutique agency effectively going to get more clients, scale out their sales processes, you know what I mean? Figure out how you can outsource with amazing providers such as yourself. I know you do links as well, we do links too. So if you can find trusted providers and partners, as well as amazing content providers, you can effectively take a step back from your business and focus more on your message, your marketing message. So a boutique agency, I would go more the approach of becoming a niche specific boutique agency that's more a business transformation company, and you're simply using SEO, PPC, Facebook ads as a vehicle to drive that transformation and growth. If you can sell people on their future rather than selling people on, hey, you're going to get some links and content and hopefully you'll rank in 6 months. If you can provide tangible business results, if you can go into their database, right, get a client, go into their database, go through all of their business for the last 10 years, and if it's a service interval business and you can reach out to them 5 years later, you can bring revenue quick. So I'm thinking, well, how can I bring real money in the bank quick for these businesses to then leverage the online stuff? Because you can scale business out really fast if you know what you're doing. So I would definitely tell those people to niche right down and become very specific on their marketing message, their persona of who they're trying to acquire, and you'll win. Those are the agencies that are winning right now. Companies like iLawyer Marketing, for example, they're absolutely killing it in the law niche.
Okay, so become fully immersed in the niche right down, get your market message right, utilize external agencies for content, links, maybe web dev if you don't do web dev.
A great tip that I picked up from James Dooley as well when I was down in the Manchester offices, obviously training out the outreach team, was these people in their own right, so your content writers in-house potentially, if you can turn them into content managers and you can effectively use them as a sales vehicle as well and build out their personal brands. So you're effectively building them up as an individual whilst working for you, but they're also a vehicle to acquire clients in their own right.
Yeah,
which is great for retention, because obviously once it starts getting to that level, they will obviously want to branch out on their own. But if they're also a vehicle to grow themselves as well as your business, it's win-win. It's great. It's infinite scalability because they have genuine skin in the game, where you can provide them percentages and financial incentives to turn up every day and excel and perform.
Yeah, everyone eats. I think if you empower, that's one thing we're trying to do now, is trying to empower our managers. And you introduced me to, what's that thing, Beacons? So we're going to set beacons.ai up for the staff as well as all the brands. And just get them, because they're starting to be more interactive on Twitter now as well. And look, there's some clients that probably head it off with like one of our account managers is better than me, because she gives them more time and attention. So she could probably get a better upsell than me sometimes.
And if you literally give her a small piece of the action as well, she's effectively getting, she's acquiring a client and getting paid for the life of the client. So she's got a real emotional incentive, financial incentive, and you're building her security up. So
do you not think a lot of agency owners typically quite scared of something like that? Let's not build up my account manager because she'll just get poached, or you just get poached.
But that just shows their lack of SOPs, their lack of business acumen and competence, really. Because at the end of the day, if you have the processes in place, a decent SEO could be replaceable if the processes are perfect and shit hot. But even better, you can use those really good SEOs that have built those processes up and made them even better to train the next guys. So effectively, it's like a pyramid structure and a self-perpetuating loop of recruitment success, when you can literally scale indefinitely because the trainers become the trainers. When the trainers are becoming the trainers at scale, that's when you really, especially when the people above are then vehicles for sales. So you can see how tractions really starts to get picked up very quickly, and that's pretty much the business model we use.
Okay, so now let's chat about an SEO executive who's just starting to get on their feet, been in the game for about a year. How do they level up? What happens if they're in a boutique agency where the owner doesn't give them these opportunities? Would you recommend they start building out their own personal brand, start interacting more in their own community, or?
So I'd just say to them, maybe join these industry groups. And I know obviously SEO bosses, SEO business owners are quite cagey with their staff. But I would just say, look, without stepping on their toes, maybe build out some small lead gen websites, some test case websites, and then maybe just be transparent with your team and say, look, I'm testing out these external services on this test website. Could we then bring them in on the clients? Because that's what I was able to do when my bosses just weren't open to obviously outsourcing a lot of the stuff, quality control and things. So I would advise them to, have a go. You know, it costs £3 to register a domain. Why not? Why not build out your own small plays? You know.
Fair enough. Right, let's see the next question. Okay, cool. Breakthrough moment in SEO. When did you start getting noticed in SEO, and what was your big kind of breakthrough moment?
Well, just to relay to back what I was saying about literally you can register a domain for £3. That was a massive breakthrough for me, because what I realised is from like like property development courses, property development seminars, 'cause it's something I've really been into recently. These are essentially assets. So obviously a domain is an asset with far more potential than a physical property or physical land, albeit a much more riskier asset. But just registering a brand new domain for £3, I know that to go back to what I said before about emergency plumbers, emergency boiler repair, I know I could literally register that domain, have it locally for my town or city, right? So a very small metropolitan area that's likely to get leads and show up on Google Maps. For £200, just using my own services, I could effectively just have it an asset, making money. And that's a massive switch. That's the biggest switch that you can have as an SEO. Registering a domain for a local website, getting that first lead and knowing that it can make money. If you can define the industry and you know the lead, how much you're getting per lead, you can even do PPC, and you've got a lead gen empire like that. So that was a massive breakthrough for me, realizing that I can have multiple websites that are multiple vehicles to make money, and it only costs me £3 for a .co.uk to engage.
What was your biggest mistake?
My biggest mistake in SEO.
Something you learned from, though, obviously.
See, I've just kind of had a very slow and steady rise over the last 10 years.
What's the little tiny one?
And I've had so many websites fail, but I don't really see them as mistakes. Like, how can I really call them mistakes when for example, I controlled the PBN network. I literally just pointed the link somewhere else. Like back in the day when I was heavily using PBNs, I just pointed the link somewhere else. Or I could just go out there and acquire a client in that industry. If it fails, just acquire a client, use the links for that client.
You're just always pushing forward, always trying new things.
Always pushing forwards, really. Like there is certain stuff I've done in the past. Like for example, when the Black Hat stuff was more prevalent, and then obviously the updates were happening and stuff. Like we all got hit by the updates, but it's SEO, it's life. Like get over it. Like go do something else. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I wouldn't really say a lot of my I think it's just all a journey. And you know what? As long as I show up every day, I'm doing better than the day before. I don't know. I'm happy. Yeah, I'm just enjoying the process, to be honest.
And have you always had that mindset?
Yeah, I guess, because I don't know. Like once you get to a certain earning potential, I feel as if you care more about your family, friends, your clients, what you're putting food on the table for. So it's almost selfish to worry about my own mistakes and what I've done wrong, because I'm more emotionally invested in my friends, my family, my clients. You know what I mean? The partnerships that we have. I'm more emotionally invested in helping those people and doing that thing than what mistakes I've made. But yeah, I've made tons.
And how do you think networking has helped your career in SEO?
I'd say it's pretty much the number one thing.
Really?
I'd say the same, to be fair. Networking.
You know what it is? It's SEO's. It's not gatekeeped, but the real stuff and what people are actually doing is kind of gatekeeped, and it's kind of hard to find the correct people and who's doing what. And there's just so many cowboys, and there's just so many bullshitters. And I do not believe anything. I'm the biggest skeptic ever. I have to go very deep on everything just to even believe people. You know what I mean? So I've been able to ascend far faster in my industry, in my SERPs, through joint ventures, and just having people I consider good friends. I'm get priority services. Sometimes I even get discounted services. Literally got to a certain point where people were just giving me free stuff to post as reviews, but then obviously that's a little bit lame for me. I'd only actually post things that I use. Like I'm pretty sure I did a post a couple of weeks back about your services, because it was like, wow, the first time I've had Surfer SEO optimized content and I don't really need to do anything with it. The amount of content providers that I've used, that, oh my gosh, absolutely, the content's horrible.
Like take your money and then
I need that finesse. I need to actually, like, people don't realise there's a disconnect between SEOs and real businesses and certain, you know, requirements. You know, I need that quality requirement there. So yeah, networking has helped me get the best stuff, joint ventures, the best relationships, and I literally have friendships that are 10 years plus, with like Charles Float, you know, James Dooley. We literally have known each other for like 10 years plus, and I've literally just considered them good friends. Like half the time we're meeting up to talk about business stuff, and we're literally about 5 hours in on all the other stuff we're doing, you know, and then we'll then get around to the business stuff, you know. It's great, really. No, I wouldn't really even see it as networking at the moment. It's just literally like, oh, I'm just, you know, building businesses with my mates and traveling the world, and that's just normal.
This
I guess.
week's not felt like work at all, although we've been extremely productive. But I'm the same with the networking thing. Like I've not ran any ads at all, really.
Wow.
Just about to start, but up until now it's been referrals and networking, meet people like you, and then you love the service, and then your message in that group gets me 10 new clients.
Wow.
So
yeah, happy to help.
do you know what I mean? So it's networking, I think everyone should be doing it. But I even think like people who have just got into the industry should start doing it sooner than later. But anyway, right, next question, what we got? So we've got quite a few in this group. Right, okay, cool. So
yeah,
I want to do my first public speaking event soon.
So where will that be?
I don't know yet. I have pitched a few places, but I'd like to do it.
Wow.
Now obviously you have a way with words. I'm not hyping you up too much, but
thank you.
you're good at it, and you were good on stage at SEO Underground.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have to anyone else that's maybe getting into public speaking or wants to start public speaking?
Ooh, very good question.
What's your experience has been like during your public speaking, like in the past?
You know, I literally, my first ever public speaking event was for a gambling company, well, a prepaid card company called Netella, and they basically had me down in London for an event called Affiliate Fest.
Okay.
Because I was working with an agency called 90 Digital at the time, with like a iGaming veteran, Nick Garner, and basically I was so scared, you know. It was really scary. These people were like multi-millions a month. I've literally just quit my job, and I'm now talking on stage about gambling SEO. It was very, very scary.
Were you a confident guy before this?
Yeah, I'd say.
It's a different kind of confidence.
It's a different kind of confidence, and I don't know. I've kind of got more confident over the years, but definitely back then I wasn't as confident as I am now. So I was about 22, 23 then, and I'm obviously 28 now. But the best advice I could give someone who obviously, you know, like yourself, who is about to go speak on stage at some point this year, it would literally be completely mindset focused. You know, it'd be just know your craft really well, and the information you're presenting really well. And just know that you're giving genuine value to people, and you're providing actual, real, you know, actionable advice. So make sure that there's stuff that they can take away, and you know, you have a like nonchalant inner knowing that it's going to bring them success. It's going to, you know, help them. And when you're so focused on delivering a good, genuine speech, you know, talk with absolute value that people are going to take stuff away from, it's a completely different approach, you know. The stress of what you're going to say and how we're nervous, what, you know, how do my hands look, what we're doing on stage, all of that just literally fades away. And if you're just focusing on the actual audience, their experience, and just delivering a great talk, you know.
So you don't do the whole look at one person in the room pretend they're naked thing, though?
No. I very much do not want to imagine SEOs naked. But if we could just go back to that again, sorry. I just want to just touch on when you know your talk is a gateway.
Right.
So when your talk is literally a gateway to a whole new world and reality, and you're effectively taking them on a journey through your talk, they're going to be far more anxious, you know. They're going to be far more anxious and concerned about their own day-to-day lives to even notice if you're nervous. You know that you're literally taking them on a whole new world with what they're going to take away from your talk, you know. Just literally get stuck in after about 20 minutes, you know.
I remember at SEO Underground, because I sat at the back,
yeah,
and everyone had like notebooks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember you just see people watching, what do they say? And everyone was writing it down, and someday there was a thing about
Oh, that's the best feeling ever. When you're talking and you see people like glued to you and they're literally writing stuff down in front of it, it's the best feeling ever, you know.
Yeah,
you can't beat it. That is really calms you down, because no matter what, you're always going to be nervous. I was very nervous at that talk. It was my first talk since the COVID situation, so it's been a while since I've been on stage, you know.
You killed it though. It was really good.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yeah, there was a plugin going about, and how it was pronounced wasn't really how it was written, so everyone was like, what was it called, what was the right name, and it caused like a bit of a kerfuffle, I guess, because everyone wanted it down. And then later on there was a question and answer, and people would ask again what was that plugin, just so everyone was 100%. So yeah, you're probably right, people are more interested in the value you've got to bring than...
people pay to be there, people pay to be at SEO Underground, so I knew, well, I would be doing myself a disservice knowing full well that everybody's paid to be there to not deliver the best talk I could. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And so James, what do you think the importance of having side hustles are to improve your skills?
So would this be side hustles in the sense of affiliate websites and again like local lead gen websites like we said before? Because for me, like, I'd describe a side hustle as just businesses that aren't really just focused on SEO.
Right.
Like for me, my passion is more, you know, connecting with people at scale. That's literally what drives me every single morning to get up. So I've got ventures and side hustles beyond SEO that rely on my video skills, my sales skills, my networking skills, and I'm ensuring that I'm constantly mastering my craft across all fronts beyond just sitting in front of my laptop all day, you know. So obviously you literally, as an SEO, you're just in front of the laptop all day. So I want to be constantly surrounded by high-level business people, millionaires. I have people in London that are millionaires. That I have friends that are billionaires, and to be in the room with them and to see how they talk, how they think, how they move, you know, the vocal tonality, to be able to dissect that every day, to take that to my own other ventures, you know, that is the stuff that's worth it for me. And these side hustles, literally, they're just supplementing my online income, and they just basically allow me to effectively design my life around my business,
right,
rather than my business around my life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, you know, what's the point otherwise? What's the point of literally grinding hours into your SEO projects and businesses if you do not have full control of your reality? And at any point on the planet, you can literally be anywhere. Like, you guys flew me out last minute, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm also like an avid reader, so just going back to improving your skills every day, I literally consume at least 4 hours of courses a day alongside reading. So 4 hours in total reading and courses every single day. And I use a markdown program called Obsidian, where I'm dissecting notes beyond what I'm going deep on the books and the knowledge and the courses, but I'm extrapolating all the points, coming to harsher truths, deeper truths, and using that stuff across all my sales stuff at scale across all my businesses. So that is one of the most important things, just to have an edge and to even keep up in this crazy ever-changing world of SEO, you know.
Let's tell the guys what Obsidian is. So Obsidian's basically like a second brain. It's just a note-taking system.
Yeah, a second brain is a perfect way to describe it. You're literally linking your thoughts
together
in like non-linear patterns to come up with new hypothesis. It's crazy. You can literally have like a spider diagram of every idea, see how they link together, and simultaneously extrapolate whilst coming back to, you know what, the best way to describe it is like a gardener. So you wake up in the morning, you go out and you tend to your plants in your garden. Every day you're improving. So for me, I'm not really making these crazy to-do lists anymore. I'm simply just watering the garden that I already have inside Obsidian and just improving on my processes and everything day to day. It's not a crazy grind. I'm not on this hedonistic treadmill of constantly chasing the next big thing, you know. I'm just literally just cracking on every day and improving on my own processes, and Obsidian just allows me to do that beautifully, you know. I
think what you just said there as well is something a lot of people struggle with, something I struggle with from the start. In SEO, you get shiny object syndrome so easily, and like there's so many new niches, there's so many, you see your clients take success and you go, oh, I can run a business better than my client, or do you know what I mean? So how would you deal with that? Did you have that in the beginning where you're like, oh, link building content?
It's funny to say did have that in the beginning, because I actively am going to be a sufferer of that forever. I am like a dopamine monkey at scale, just constantly looking for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. I'm looking at PubMed articles. I'm literally going deep on supplements, biohacking, like research chemicals. You know, I'm constantly digesting information beyond just SEO, psychology, psychiatry, addiction therapy. Like, I want to know everything, you know.
Yeah, but you've learnt to put constraints in that? Because you know you need to get your...
Yeah, like for me, the best way was what you described earlier. Like you guys know, I wake up at 6 a.m, I have my set tasks for the day, and by 10 a.m, the whole day is finished. So I know all the engagements, I know how much money I'm going to make that day, who I'm going to speak to that day, everything, the whole day is finished. So I know from 10 a.m. onwards, I can research, I can read, I can have client calls, I can do sales calls. And obviously, it's a bit selfish of me to say 10 a.m. the day's over, but it's all my deep work. So I obviously just pretty much end up working all day, glued to my phone, creating content, networking, planning things, going to the gym and stuff. But yeah,
and were you always that organised, or what happened?
It's literally just what I went to. Just rather than constantly comparing yourself to other people, other SEOs, just compare yourself to the person the day, like yesterday.
Yeah.
So for me, that has infinite scale because it's not an external person. So if your thing for the day is to just get up, make your bed, then the next day it's get up, make your bed, have breakfast. So the next day get up, make your bed, have breakfast, go to the gym, stack on that, and then after 365 days, you're literally executing on 365 things a day.
You mentioned a minute ago as well that you don't have any task lists, but do you not have like just a notebook? Because I've seen your notebook, so I know the answer to this. But one thing I always got on about is
you've seen the black notebook.
Yeah, have your day planned before. So I just have like maybe 6 or 7 tasks.
That's what I have. So I'll have 6 for the day that I hand write. That's not connected to any of my Trello boards, ClickUp boards, or client platforms that I use. It's just my day from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. That's the most important stuff where I know I'm going to be the most animated, the most chatty, you know what I mean? The highest fidelity of written word, written speech. I know that is the best time to execute on that. It's my peak. And
do you plan your day the day before then?
I'm planning months. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. I'm very much...
But your daily task list, is that done the day before? Or a few days before?
Day before, on the day, on the fly. Sometimes I wake up and I've noticed that maybe I was up till ridiculous hours. I'll still get up at 6 a.m. because I can't sleep in, but I will be in
very true, by the way.
I will be in a reactive state too. Lots of sales activity of the night before, for example. So I would have already have loads of Zooms scheduled, loads of voice notes to reply back to because I've probably maybe sent 90 the evening before. And that's what I generally do. So I don't really follow. I very much am enjoying the journey. I have my drivers of revenue, but I have a support system and a team behind me. So obviously I haven't publicly announced it yet, but we do have a Bloomberg feature. But I was acquired by James Dooley and Carl Hudson. Agency Backlinks was acquired by Searcheroo. So obviously there has been a lot of structural changes and a lot of my process given there and a lot of shared processes where effectively I've been able to take a step back because I have a great support system now. I've been able to take a step back and just focus a lot more and really go deep on what it is that actually drives revenue. And on those first 4 hours of the day, just execute on those,
Okay, let's talk about mentorship then. Have you had any mentors?
So I would say very much, I'd say James really, like James Dooley would be one of my mentors. Like this would be a great quote to even end this on. Like I don't know how many more questions we have, but he said something to me recently, which I think is in his bio on LinkedIn or Beacons, I think. And he literally said, live rich, die broke by investing into things that will make my family, friends and the world a better place. But the key is doing all this with honesty and integrity. And obviously having access to someone like that from a business standpoint, but just knowing that that's their lens that which they view the world, it allows me to obviously get advice on the deep stuff, the sales stuff, the connections and whatnot. Because obviously I do have several other clients in Manchester, and because from having someone who's such a public figure in the business world in Manchester, I've obviously been able to connect with all the PR agencies and things, and to the point where I'm able to take clients on a global stage, take clients to TV and press. I've had a couple of clients on Sky News this year already. You know what I mean? So definitely having a good mentor is useful. And one of my mentors, James. Hopefully.
Yeah, and so James, you're 28, right? And you've done a lot, right? Oh, where do you see yourself in 15?
I honestly feel like I haven't even started, to be honest. I honestly feel like I'm barely even scratching the surface.
So where do you see yourself in like 15, 20 years?
Definitely not on a beach somewhere retired. definitely not on a beach somewhere retired. For me, I know we have so many staff in India, Philippines, Asia, Africa. I know that I want to make big socio and almost geopolitical impact at scale across all these people that probably wouldn't have had an opportunity otherwise. So obviously these people aren't building links, they're not speaking to clients, but I know that even if just data harvesting, just feeding the 70 outreach team and sales team in Manchester, I know that I want them to be earning a lot more than what we pay them, and I want to have that structure in place where, you know, I'm really building them up. So honestly, it would be, it'd be selfish to say in 15 years I want to be living on a beach, having passive income for the rest of my life. The money that that I've had from exiting, from agency backlinks and the things that I'm doing, I'm just pouring back into the fire. For me now, I know that I have hours of SEO content, hours of content. I'm lucky to have.
Right, okay, James, that was a really, really good interview. Really good podcast. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Yeah.
Two very quick questions.
Yeah.
Who should the viewers be watching in the industry right now, and who should be coming on in season 3 of the podcast?
Oh, it's a great question. I think any of the guys that I mentioned prior, really. James Dooley, Carl Hudson, Matt Diggerty, Craig Campbell, Charles Flo, Josh George, very, very interested in SEO. I literally, just prior to flying out here, actually, I was having a meeting with him in London regarding the things that he's doing there with, even in the NFT space and all sorts. We're really going deep. I think definitely get Josh George on. Get Josh George on, whether it's going out to London, or I know I believe you guys are going to be in Manchester, right?
Yeah, I'll be in Manchester in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
London,
well, I'll have to invite you to the offices, and you'll see obviously all 70 guys there. See how we do things.
Many Jameses.
That'd be great. But just thank you for having me on, obviously, and obviously flying me out. I've had a great week out here.
It's been really fun,
and hopefully people got a lot of value from this podcast.
It was a really good podcast.
Yeah,
I think it was really